This episode is brought to you by Broadhead Decals. From door wraps and roof signs, window stickers and banners, let Broadhead Decals take care of all your vinyl needs with only quality products used.
Justin's graphic design abilities will get you everything you could ever want. With super fast shipping, their turnaround time is second to none. So let Broadhead Decals take you to the next level. Ladies and gentlemen, Hard Nosed Derby Podcast, what's up?
We're back in the studio, just chilling, hanging out. A while back, we put a post on about what people want to hear. They wanted to hear about some Gold Rush qualifiers, so we got them on. Several guys were wanting engine builders. So I said, fuck it, let's do an engine builder plus a big show tech.
Yeah.
Because from now until the day of time, it will be all about big show stuff.
Yeah.
So we just got CJ Barnes in here with us. What's up, dude?
Not much.
Anybody knows CJ, original DMP member? Run big shit. He's run Spring X.
And pretty well known for retarded amounts of horsepower.
We're gonna start it like this. Everybody always asks, well, CJ, why do you got so much horsepower? I like to party. But he did break it down to me one time. He had a brand new Shane Fessler Black Widow at Bowling Green. Everybody and their dog heard it when he ran it. And the basic purpose of that was I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Right.
His was, a lot of times when you're in the mod world, there's 2 or 3 guys that are trying to push you in a corner, do whatever, get you in a pile. He always told me I want enough to push the pile.
Until you blow the fucking center section out of a 14 bolt or something.
So, CJ started teching for Taylor Feldkamp and Josh Delar at Spring Explosion and Mr. Palmer at
Hot Springs.
Man, how much of a change is that for you, going from the building side to the tech side?
It's not too bad because you already know all the ins and outs of the cars. But then you get to listening because you hear everything under the sun of, well, I didn't know it was there, or my buddy did it while I wasn't in the shop. And
I bought it that way.
It ain't nothing that I've never did or tried. So
because we had talked after Spring X of 20. I keep saying Spring X, Spring Explosion. I'm sorry, of 2023. Nobody really tried a bunch of real crazy shit.
No. Everything in the tech is very fair, so it's either by the rules or nothing at all. And I agree with that. It kind of takes the builder aspect out of a lot of stuff, like from the guys that used to run back in the day with Ultimate Derby out at Bash. But then again, it makes everything fair.
Well, it brings it down to the driver, in my opinion.
It does, and it also makes it to where it's on a level playing field.
Right.
That even keel. Because we know a lot of guys that wouldn't go to a big show, several years ago because they were so afraid of, 1, who they were running against, and 2, who was teching it.
Well, and it wasn't just that. It was they were like, well, I've never built anything like that. They were used to building stuff around here, and the quality of builds that you see at stuff like that is just second to none. I mean, just as well as I do, whether it be the cleanliness of the plates, the fucking, you don't see those boogered up shitty welds like you do around home. You don't see people that are trying to stuff bumpers with all thread and, ready rod and all that bullshit. Like, it's a different aspect, but with the set of rules like that, where you can only do so much and there's no manipulation of that rule, it kind of levels that playing field, and it will bring the common guy out of their bubble to go run that shit.
And, you know, back when he was really running hard, I mean, that was the major, every big show had a mod of some sort. And at that time, you can almost throw everything but the kitchen sink at it. Unless you go to Sturgis, Kentucky, and then you can throw the kitchen sink at it with it. How much, seeing, which we talk a lot on progression, how much have you really noticed from that 16, 17, and 18 time frame to now? There's been rules written because of you. there has been. So when you see how you guys, you know, would build all the way back in 2012, 13, 14, 15 to what they're doing now, is there that much of I'm going to say, an age gap? You know, where over here everybody was doing it, and now here you're seeing people do a lot different stuff with creativity and not so much of a welder.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot about placement now, but then again, in the rules with the techs and stuff, it's not, okay, well, you beat me on this rule, we'll let you have it anymore. It's either, no, you can't have it because it's not in the rules, or, okay, you're going to have to fix it this way, and we'll let you still have a little bit.
Because we've seen several guys that, you know, standing there in the tech line, they're like, fuck, you got me. You beat me. But then they're a little bit more asshole-ish on this other side. And he was like, okay, you beat us here, but we've got you here. So you can choose, do you want to fix the one that you beat me on, or do you want to fix the one that I want you to fix? Corey Ludington, same thing. At the first year at Peoria, Corey beat him. He got the choice of what to fix. And he even told us he chose wrong.
Right.
You know, so then it's in the builder's hand, not really so much in the tech's hand. But we're talking, you're teching EPR. You've been around those guys. Hell, you've ran with those guys. You run against those guys. And then you're looking at Bobby Whitaker, Ryan Durham, Terry Timmons. So is it super hard going through a big show tech line, being the tech, when the people you're teching you've either ran against for so long or you're friends with?
It's not for me because I like it to be fair, because that's the way when I was running, that's what I wanted as well. I wanted it to be fair. I didn't want the buddy system. I won't do that. I'll tech my best friend the same way I tech my worst enemy.
Because we've heard a lot of times that the person will get teched instead of the car.
Yes, well, we've seen it.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're good.
Fuck, I've been there.
Yeah. We don't like you, really, so we're going to nitpick the fuck out of this car.
We watched that shit when I was running against 3 cars. Like, we talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, oh, what about that? I'm like, man, fuck you. Those other 2 cars are already in. I know what they are. We're not doing those.
No, I think fair is fair. Like, it should be fair. Don't matter if it's your friend or, like I said, your worst enemy. That it should be fair. Because everybody, the crowd, they want a good show as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they want that wide open shit from end to end.
And nobody wants a bad name out there for themselves by doing something for the buddy system or against.
It's way easier to get your name down than it is up.
That it is. So, going from the tech side to the motor builder side, what made you do that?
Well, you were talking about the Fessler motor,
Mm-hmm.
and there's hundreds and hundreds, thousands of better engine builders than me. But I got to where I was like, it's a lot of money to build a motor, especially when you're putting all brand new parts and stuff, that I was spending too much money on that to where I was just like, you know what, I can do this myself. And then just took off doing my own stuff. And I'm not saying that I do everything perfect, because I do have mess-ups as well, just like anybody does. We're all human.
Yep.
But there is also a lot of bad parts out there nowadays. Stuff is made cheaper, charged for more price.
Yep.
And stuff is breaking, and it's not the engine builder part or fault. And when you have more horsepower, it takes a lot of maintenance, and a lot of guys don't want to do a lot of maintenance as well.
I mean, you can see in the world of social media, you've got enough motors out there that these guys, I don't think they so much want to worry about the maintenance side. They just want to go party.
Yeah.
They're those.
Well, and I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Yeah, you might have the money in hand to build that big nasty motor, but you got to realize that your maintenance cost after that is not fucking cheap. Mm-hmm. I'm talking plugs, oil. I mean, those two deals right there that people don't realize. Those people that are running those big nasty high horsepower motors, they're changing that shit every run.
Well, it's not just that, not just your oil or your plugs or anything like that. You want to make sure your timing's on right. You want to make sure your valves are adjusted right every run.
And then you got to worry about finding a transmission to hold said 750 horse.
I don't know how many transmissions I went through.
I don't know how many transmissions you went through in a week, motherfucker. 3?
Not even
Yeah.
come out of the shop some days.
3 at Blizzard Bash in 1 week, in 1 weekend.
Oh, I know. I remember. I was there.
And even, transmission builders such as like Jake Reed, who has been building trannies forever. I mean, he's told me to my face, there's no way that I can build CJ a transmission to hold the horsepower that he wants to run. He says, there's no way I can do it. So now you've got so many transmission builders like GF Ease,
Yep.
everybody is like Dalen. Okay, Dalen, Cody, and Allen. They got Collier Motors, GHE transmissions. Colliers are they're one of the top of the line motors, in my opinion. I'm going to guess your opinion as well.
No, he's him and Fushi getting in, taking over guard. Them two are probably top number. They're the top guys.
But they still have transmission problems. And you're talking that
So motor issues.
Yeah,
I mean, you're gonna end up. You're gonna have that shit. There's too many moving parts.
Always a weak link somewhere.
just on the build side. You make one spot strong, it's going to go somewhere else.
Right.
So, what's your favorite motor to build so far?
My most reliable that I built myself personally is probably around the 358 cubic inch.
Nastiest.
I'd probably say is probably around that 410, 415, 418.
See, there's that difference. A lot of the motor builders will build that 355 or that 383 or a 406. With him, you don't know what you're getting because he likes to mess around with different stroke cranks, different rods, pistons, heads, where it's not just that basic stuff. It's almost that exotic stuff because, fuck it, we're just going to say it. You're starting to run again.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little getting back in the game.
So if anybody ever just sits back and thinks he's not just going to throw a little measly 355 at something, unless it's for your boy, which we did talk before. You're trying to get your boy into that. I mean, it's better for him to run into a car with another car than run into the car with his face, which we have seen that before. So Ian has grown up. He's 12 and he's ready.
I think so. He wants to do it, and he's got into this engine building deal with me, and he's really intrigued with getting into it. So I just want to run with it while he's wants to do it.
Well, hell, ever since he was 4 years old, he's always out in the shop, got a power wheel up on the jack stands or something. He was always turning wrenches of some sort. So I was hoping that would keep carrying on, because that really started with your dad.
Yeah.
He built Otis.
I built it.
You built Otis?
I built Otis for him.
And it was one of those motors that just didn't quit. You could get it hot as shit. So even at that point in time, when Ian was hanging in the shop all the time, if you were in the shop, he was in there. I've seen him fall asleep on creepers. I've seen him fall asleep on the couch. I've seen him run his face into the side of a Jeep. Full tilt, no brakes. So he is taking that from you, which like I said, Dad passed it down to you, and if you're going to be able to pass it down to Ian, I think that'll be get you right here, you know, in that little heart shot. So,
I want to put something to bed right now while we're talking about it because it drives me fucking nuts hearing about it all the time. People are like, I got a 355. You had a wore out 350 is what you had. And I've been waiting to say that until we got somebody out here that builds motors.
CJ and I have had
It's fucking stupid. That's exactly what the fuck that is. All it is a fucking bored out 350 is all they've done to that.
we've had this conversation where you hear a lot of these kids, you know, hey, I've got a 355 and it turns 700 horse.
Yeah.
What head you got on it? Oh, just 882s. Like, you do know that's not possible, right? You know, so you get all these guys that, yeah, I'm running 800 horse, and you got 23-degree heads. He'll probably be able to sit here and tell you there's no way that you can get that with a 23-degree head.
That's why I want to get him on here, or you know, somebody that builds motors, because it fucking, the first post you see on Midmo Derby Swap, 355, 500 horse. Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not with your torque or two intake and fucking your
Double hump heads?
Yeah, and your 2-barrel fucking ollie. No, it,
2G carb.
yeah, it didn't happen. That's fake news.
That's
We do have 2 engines though that are done, that are for one my personal and one that's going to be a backup, but one that he's going to run. His is going to be a 388. They both got aluminum heads on them.
hold on, Ian's? Oh shit!
Both are solid roller. His is only going to be 10.5, 1 compression, solid roller though. It's going to make, none of them been on the dyno, but just going to guess. One's going to be probably around that 500, 520 horse, and then the other one I did was a 410. And that one's got it's got Chad Spears V3 profiler heads on it, and they're capable of making over 800 horsepower with a 23-degree head.
Told y'all he liked to party.
Right. Well, and I mean, that right there, just what he said. There's going to be so many people that are listening to this. They're like, "What the fuck does that mean?" That's why we're doing this. Like, Google is your fucking friend. Go look at that shit. Go look it up. Go look up the difference between, the 28-degree heads, all that shit. Go look at that shit. You can learn a lot. But I wanted to bring some realization whenever you're looking at fucking buying a motor. Because any motor that I've ever bought, I bought it like it's blowed up. Or about to. Because you don't know what the fuck you're getting.
Correct.
Ever. And whenever you put your fucking clapped out 355 on Facebook for $4,500, that's fucking insane. It fucking is. Like, none of this is false. Like, it blows my fucking mind.
And anymore, I just kind of take that with a grain of salt. When you see that stuff. It's like, you know what, I do want to say something, but I'm not going to because I don't want to hurt your feelings today. That type of stuff. But it happens.
There's a time to pick your battles.
100%.
And anymore with social media, I don't do that shit. I just kind of let it roll and go.
So, CJ, I think what everybody was wanting to know, like, whatever they're getting into derbying and stuff, what platform, where would you have them start on the small block Chevy? Like, for them to build a good running, 450 horse motor with that they don't have to break the bank to build, that is reliable. Like, what parts would you have them throw at something like that?
Well, any day, everything's going to break the bank
Right.
whenever you go with all new parts.
Right.
But, I mean, a lot of guys are running really good and really reliable with just, flat top, hypertonic pistons and a nice, aftermarket 6-inch rod and just a You know, a cast steel crank. I like myself, I'm not a hydraulic person. I don't like hydraulic cams. I always go either with solid flat tappet or solid roller.
And some of the people out there that just went,
Right, but that's why we're here.
yeah.
That's what we're trying to teach them about, and because there's not really a place to get educated on stuff like that.
Oh no.
You know, unless you're around somebody all the time that knows about it, or you grew up around that shit. Because I know a lot of guys that have thrown parts at motors in their shop, and they get them together, and they'll run where the fuck. Mm-hmm. They don't match.
Combination ain't right.
Right.
You could take a gamble on buying used parts off of, say, big sponsor Circle Track guys. As long as you know what you're looking at, as long as you know it's decent, you can get a pretty cheap motor that can be rebuilt and put back together for good money and run hard.
I mean, because anymore, okay, now you'll see the 604 crate motors
Yep.
out of IMCA A modified. They're dropping them fuckers right into a derby car. Booger, he had a 406 from an A mod. Cordell, 406 from an A mod. So now let's hit on that. So you'll see race car motors. What do you need to do or should do to make that the derby motor where you get more reliability? Because, back in the day, everybody said, man, my 305 burns oil like a bitch, but it never dies. So how are you taking these 500 horse motors to make them reliable for a derby car?
Clearance.
There it was. I just wanted to hear that justification. How do you get that on the LS side? Because I know you're not a big LS guy for a builder.
That's what my boy got into. That's what intrigued him a lot, is getting into the LS side. So we've got a little bit LS, and I did a couple LSs, but LS motors are very, very tight on clearances. So you have to get into them. Yeah, you can get away with pulling one out of a truck that's got 140,000 miles on it, and you may get away with it. You may get halfway through the show and it blows up. But their bearing clearances are very tight. So you're gonna have to go in there and open those up, and you got to open up the cylinder walls. Piston, the wall clearances got to be opened up on them.
Because when they get hot,
Shit starts swelling.
And then chirping, and then howling, and then not moving. That's where we have came to the part of you've ran alcohol for years. You've tried
Driver and car.
You've done the E85 stuff. You've done the 110, the 112, the 113 oxygenated to the 115, and then alcohol. When I hear that so much, guys are like, man, it's just too tedious. It's too meticulous. It's hard to get it right. We've had this conversation before. Not so much with a good carburetor.
That's not.
Carburetor makes everything. We've talked about that.
You could have a $12,000 motor and put a $200 carburetor as a piece of crap on there. You got a $200 piece of crap.
And you see that a lot because people don't know what a good carburetor is.
You could have a piece of crap motor, put a good carburetor on it, and make it last for a long time.
Correct.
Because you've got a lot of guys that think, well, hell, I pulled this Edelbrock out of the box.
Doesn't mean it's good.
Right.
Doesn't mean it's
you
good.
Pull an Edelbrock, you bring the Edelbrock to me, brand new, and I'll ship it back with you. Never be put on the motor.
That's why we've always said, if you're going to spend some money, spend it where it counts. Don't spend it just because it sounds cool, looks good. I'd rather have a $1,500 Willys on top of a $500 junkyard piece of shit.
Instead of a $600 set of headers.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
Correct.
Willys are probably right up there on the top of my list on carbs.
Willys. I was a Stealth fan as well.
Willys, Stealth, BLP, they're good. There's a lot of good car builders out there. You know, one of the good guys that are around here, you know, is John Dreer, 007 down in Winsville. That guy is phenomenal. He worked for CNS for 20 years and went on himself. If I need something done, I call him up, get it down to him, boom, it's right back to me real fast.
See, so that meticulation isn't that bad. The only problem I don't like about alcohol is, yes, you can't see it burn. Next
Yeah,
thing you know,
that's-
you're Ricky Bobby in that shit. And
That's why you put top lube in it. Put top lube in there. That's what gets you a little orange flame in your. Everybody says alcohol. It's methanol.
yeah,
But cleaning them out, cleaning your fuel system out, even oxygenated fuel is just as bad as methanol. You have to.
That shit will turn straight up white.
It crystallizes.
Yep.
It dries it out. It creates a powder inside of there, and it plugs everything up.
that's why I always pulled front bolt off, back bolt off, drain it all, put the plugs back in, a little gasoline in the top of it, let it sit. Then it's not going to be all nasty and fucked up. So take heed, boys.
But
Don't be
whenever
scared to
you-
run that alcohol.
Yeah, but whenever you go to that methanol, if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, don't run it. You see, because you're bringing in a whole nother set of problems. Expense, cleanliness, all that shit. Like,
Oil. You gotta change the oil every race because it's milky.
That shit'll look like chocolate milk
Yep.
It don't
every
matter
time.
if you run it for 2 minutes or an hour. It's milky.
and I learned that shit from our pulling tractor days. We had that twin turbo tractor on alcohol. There was just as much alcohol in the fucking oil as there was coming out the top of that motherfucker. We'd burn 15 gallon, 300 foot. That's fucking pumping shit.
Yep. But on the Derby alcohol methanol side, it's. I mean, if you're meticulous, you won't have an issue with it. You ran 48 minutes of Sturgis, Kentucky, on the team show. If anybody goes to YouTube, you can watch that video. Your radiator was pissing water in a good constant stream in about the first 2 minutes.
Pressure.
45 minutes of no water on a methanol motor. Mr. Zach Riggs put a heat gauge on it, and no head was over 194 degrees. So you don't have that heat issue. So you'll see a lot of these guys, they'll lose a radiator. They know they got to do their shit within 10 minutes. If not, it's going to be locked up, dieseling, or don't want to fire. 190 degrees, how that don't even hit your Chevrolet factory thermostat before it opens up. So
I remember Petro's dad. Petro, whatever his name is. His
Yeah.
dad was standing there when we was pulling on the track. He goes, man, it sounded like somewhere we was at a NASCAR race. It's just everything, the whole ground was thumping when everybody was pulling in on the track. So we had us and then we had EPR pulling in. And it just,
And then Team Arkansas was down there.
yeah.
And then the boys in the pink and the white. I don't
Yeah.
know where they're from, but I really felt bad for them dudes in about 4 minutes. Because it was bad. it was cool. But, yeah, I mean, you can go back and watch all that shit on YouTube. It's all a good show. Now, we did hit off. You are going to get back into it a little for 2024. Are you worried? Because all the motors and stuff that you have built, for yourself, mostly have been in mod type of build, whether it's Steve Turlo show, Blizzard Bash, where you can get 42 rolls of welding wire onto it if you want. Are you concerned about the amount of horsepower on not a stout car?
No, because you just got to have a level head. You got to, for the build, you gotta have that type of style, that driving style.
That's where the driver comes into play.
And that's why a lot of people gripe, coming from the tech side, like, Metal Man, why does it take 3 hours and 30 minutes? We're in pretty much a bone stock car, and we're trying to make them last because you're going for a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And you have phenomenal drivers that are going for it.
Yes.
I don't have the fucking mentality for it. I get bored here.
That's me too.
Well, I mean, just look at South Dakota. You saw when those couple got bored, but then it changed the entire pace of the Derby when just 3 or 4 of them get bored out of the 25. Because the other 21 are going, hold on, he is turning this bitch way up. I better get going. If not, he's coming after me next.
Now, that it takes those Wildcat, those Mad Dogs, those basket case drivers to throw out there that don't care, that get bored and want to turn the pace up, that takes the good drivers, okay, I need to either do something to get out of the way or I may end up being jumped too.
Correct, because we talked about it before. I've never seen Don Santel or Bob Whitaker, no suspension,
No steering.
no steering, and up against the wall,
That
dead
quick.
in the water. And we're talking within 5 minutes, 8 minutes.
Yeah.
You never see that. But we hit on it. A third of the drivers were
Mad Dogs.
Mad Dog awarded.
That's how they got
guys.
there.
Yes.
They were Mad Dog qualifiers. That's how the fuck they got there.
Now, if you're a Mad Dog qualifier and then you go out there and want to drive Miss Daisy, something should be said. You're awarded that for a reason.
Correct. And I think everybody lived up to
That was a good fucking show.
that name.
All the way around. It was a good fucking show.
Something we have talked. You watched South Dakota. And he's probably going to want to throw some shit at me here. You've ran Blizzard Bash. You've ran Blizzard Bash since 2012? Was that your first year?
It was before that. I think it was 10.
Was it?
We went out there and watched, I think, 1 or 2 years and then started building our own stuff. Didn't get to run the first year because it got loaded. But
There's that one rule.
it was a rule I beat them on, but they didn't like it.
Correct. But that rule was implemented the very next year.
Mm-hmm. It was.
See, there's some of that rule because of this motherfucker. What is the difference? Blizzard Bash this year, in the mod class, he tried to mark everybody for sandbagging. And then they didn't have to do hardly anything for bagging at South Dakota, correct? Now the heat, the wheelman heat, they hit a couple,
Yeah.
I think, Eric. But as soon as those were marked, it was a completely different pace. How does Blizzard Bash not be able to carry that same pace that all the fans want to see? Because you know what kind of cars they're in, that they're getting fucking flagged for bagging.
If you're going to get marked, then you need to stand by what you're saying. If you're marked for that, the next time you get stopped, it should be a break stick.
Correct. But how do you've been in those drivers' meetings? How does Sam figure out how to get that pace pushed more than some of the other promoters? And I'm not just throwing out Tim Clark. I mean, because we've kind of seen that at, oh shit.
The group of drivers that was there, I'm still standing on that. It was a good mix of strategical drivers and kill shot drivers. Whereas at Blizzard Bash, it's been around longer. The group of guys that were there, most of them are strategical drivers.
But there's that part that I keep coming back to is because even the guys who ran at South Dakota and Blizzard Bash, they drove different.
Because of the group of drivers. Because it wasn't everybody from South
Still
Dakota
is.
that went to Blizzard Bash.
Oh, I know. But I know there was,
You only had a couple teams that went to both shows.
correct. But how do you just be able to flip a switch to go run your balls off and then the very next week bag your dick off?
Because it was the other group of drivers that were out there. Like I said, it's only a couple teams that went to both shows. At Gold Rush, a lot harder drivers. So you're going to have to pick the pace up or get jumped.
I think they all just need to pick the pace up and just get jumped.
Well, if you're in a mod car, you should pick the pace up anyways.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I was leaning to that, because you know what a mod car is. I ain't never seen you sandbagging one. I mean, I've seen you try to rip the fucking front suspension off of it because you tried to drive up the ass of an 03. I have seen that happen. I've seen you try to park on somebody's roof out there. What else?
I don't know how many times I've flipped myself over.
I wasn't even gonna bring it up.
I wasn't going to. I wasn't going to say shit at all about that part. I really wasn't.
The atmosphere looked weird at Blizzard Bash this year. I wasn't there, so I can't personally speak on it. It did though. I mean, the crowd interaction that you normally see and all that shit. It didn't. I mean, it just looked different. Was that because half the crowd that was at Gold Rush had went to Blizzard Bash and they were tired? Maybe.
Correct.
I do have to say, one thing I did like about the Gold Rush rules wise is you either get spindles
Yes.
or you get hunt plates.
Fucking
It's an inner mix of rules. So you either get this or you get that. What do you want? Not all of it together.
You want the front badass or do you want the back badass?
And they've kind of went, say, from last year and the year before, they've kind of brought it back a little bit on the rules. They've made it to where it's a little bit weaker. And I agree with that because stuff was getting to where it was just outlaw stuff, just 5-foot cars.
It was just dumpsters running into each other.
Just whose transmission burns up first, or who has a wiring, electrical issue, or
So there's that question. Say if you were going to South Dakota in 2024 on a team, what would you take?
I'm gonna take, tried and true, either 9802 or 03 and newer.
So they're in that instance an 03 and newer. With their advantage on the rear compared to a 9802, do you not worry about the ass and just want to try to keep steering on it?
Well, I'm not ever a backup guy anyway, so the front's always
The ass ends
You
for
do
defense.
off the trailer.
the front's for offense, back end's just for defense. Run into it all day long. As long as I don't get on my tires or get in the dirt, I don't care.
Because it was, what was it, 60-40 is what they kind of figured out
Yeah.
from home place to spindles.
Yeah.
That I really do, just like you said, that you don't get both. You get one. But the guys who don't run the mod stuff, I think they'll
It brings it into them.
Correct.
Where if you don't want to, if that's the only show that allows the spindles that you're going to run, and you don't have a set of spindles, you don't want to spend that money on.
Fuck that.
Why not run fucking stock spindles and then put your home plates on?
correct. Where they're not going out and spending an extra $1,200 that they don't need to go
No.
spend. Because you'll see them used all day long for $1,200.
Right.
Man, do I really want to spend $1,200 for one fucking show?
Exactly. Then you come back home, don't get to run all year long.
Put them on the fucking shelf somewhere.
Yep.
Or list them bitches for sale.
Right.
Yeah.
So with all the big shit that has come about here recently and all, the fucking limelight is on big shows now. It's not local shit. Nobody gives a fuck about that, as of right now. Like, it's just, that's the way everything's turned right now. Where's somewhere you want to run?
I'm probably going to start back, like I said, with my boy. Let it get back in the game small. Run some of this local stuff. Not build nothing to where it's, stupid, nasty, hard, and just get back.
So some of that hot stock stuff.
Yeah, your street stock, hot
Yeah.
stock.
Because to me,
Take that
I mean, we don't have to go all the way in that. That hot stock class is the street stock class minus some brackets and shit. I mean,
Yeah.
Like I said, I want to get my boy into a youth, it could be a stock rear end, lower cradle, run whatever motor you want, stuff like that. Just something where he can get into it and like it.
I think he'll like it. I think he'll like it. Usually when they love Power Wheels, when they get moved up, I know it's a whole different level, but you'll see those kids out there on the Power Wheels that they're real retained, where they're not wanting to go, they're not wanting to make a hit. Yours, on the other hand, he'd go from one end to the other and hit everything in the middle. He never gave a shit. I'm guessing Fords is the plan.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll stick him in probably whatever I can get my hands on forward wise.
Now, being that it's been so long since you bought cars, is that a shock?
I've been watching it the whole time I've been out. The price of everything is out the roof
Out the fucking
for
roof.
even junk stuff.
Yeah, both
Whenever I
boxes,
seen a
both boxes
fucking-
rusty as fuck. $500.
Whenever I was seeing that $1,200
When people
9802 that was stripped, I was like, wow.
when people are charging $250 for spindles and A-arms, a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
But what is the schedule? Are you going back to Arkansas this year?
Haven't heard what the plan is yet. Jeff's been going through a bunch of health, so we haven't, just hope he gets better. So he hasn't been, we haven't really even talked about any of that yet. I will be back at Spring X, helping Josh out and Taylor.
How is it to work with Josh?
Never know what you're going to get into.
Because, nationwide, they went to South Dakota, Josh and Taylor did, for part of the Wheelman qualifying deal, and people watched Josh pick up a fucking aftermarket bumper by himself and carry it off. Is he very intimidating going through the tech line?
No,
Nobody gets all squirrely or nothing with him, do they?
no, nobody gets squirrely through tech.
See, I guess we should have everybody needs a Josh.
There's always that one guy that's at the night that thinks he's the biggest and the baddest, that is probably 5 foot 2 inches and just as big as he is when he lays down. That wants to come through the tech line and mouth, but
Those are fucking facts. They fucking are, too.
They don't know. The only people I know is 5'2", Cody and Dalen.
Well, they don't have, there's a such thing called little man syndrome. I don't think they have that. That's not an issue for them guys, but there is those guys that,
a lot of liquid courage at the end of the night when they
Correct.
start coming through.
yeah, they've been there for a day already and they've been winning the tech line because you guys, last year at Spring Explosion, you guys roughly ran 350 cars through tech,
That's it.
somewhere in there.
Total.
Because I think 380 signed up, but I think they got just a couple, maybe 1 or 2 teams that didn't show up kind of in each class. So how much, because you're used to being the one that was sitting in the car waiting for that tech line. How much different is it when you are the one not waiting in that car?
It's not bad. I mean, you roll through, you put it on point, as long as the guys that you're teching with are everybody's on the same page. We're not changing stuff, or this guy had it, we made him cut it, or this and that. I mean, it is what it is. Like, you either go by the rules or you cut it, and if you don't like it, I'm sorry, and if you get caught cheating, we'll always give somebody a chance. You're gonna cut it by what Josh says the first time, and if you don't cut it the first time, you won't run.
Because we have talked about that.
But that's fucking fair.
correct.
Yeah,
That's
Yes.
fair. That's
You
what
get
it
caught
should be.
cheating, you get caught cheating, you give you a chance. Most promoters will just say, no, get it out of here, load it on trailer. No, give them a chance. Either you're going to cut it out and you're going to cut something like he says, or you won't run.
Still, my favorite example of that is fucking Chance. They had him dead to fucking rights. They told him how they wanted him to make it right, and he fucking did it.
And he did it.
And I
Cut
mean,
the
he cut
rails.
the fucking rails off his car.
Yep. Whole tops of them off.
I did that before. We were in at Wheatland for Rob Baker. And it didn't amount to nothing what I did to it, but
Correct.
I cut it the way he wanted me to, and I did.
Because I've seen it where in a team show setting, I'm not going to throw out the promoter or the tech guys, but I've seen you guys go through a team show tech line and you all 4 had the same thing done to the car.
Consistency.
One of them got cut and the other 3 didn't. And then the exact same thing, the opposite, where the first 3 got through with the same thing that the last one had and he had to cut it.
Out there, I would say, okay, this is Blizzard Bash. When I was running, I like to go through first so I could argue my point why I did something. so I could try to beat it rather than come in late. And they said, well, we already made 2 or 3 cars cut it. But I had the same thing, but they couldn't argue their point right.
Now, Blizzard Bash this year, you had your hand in building a car that went to the national side. We kind of talked about that. There's 24, 25 guys that had the exact same thing done.
Nope. Frame shortening.
Frame shortening. The one that you had a hand in building, you didn't shorten it.
It was in the same spots where I always shorten them at.
Correct.
And it was not past anything or done anything different. I think it was because I had messed up and called on the phone and asked a question. So he knew that I was part of it.
So how do you, on the tech side of that, how can you control that when you have so many guys that did the exact same thing? And I'm heard they were like,
When I look at it, I know a measurement off of a fresh frame, whether they have the front core support mount there or cut it completely off. I could still pull off of a measurement and still tell how short they've shortened it.
so is that something that needs to be readjusted in the rule set?
The rule set should say from this point should be to there, this measurement, period.
And they didn't have that.
No.
Because we all kind of know. I mean, usually somebody's going to try to, when they're shortening it, they're going to shorten it to an extent.
Yeah.
But not where they were measuring from. Wasn't it? Because wasn't they measuring somewhere around the spring pocket area? Forward. And then you have certain guys that take a stub out to them to have them measure it. And the measurements are the same, but then they still say they're too short. So, I don't know. Is that just the big tech issues?
Consistency, people-wise, like you talked about earlier. Just you're teching the driver instead of the car.
Maybe that's why there wasn't so much energy at Blizzard Bash, because they're just tired from cutting
Yeah,
or tired from trying to put a fucking horn on it.
100%.
So it comes down. I mean, just like he said, it's consistency. Can you imagine sitting in a car going through a tech line and knowing that you're going to get fucking raped because of who you are? Not for what your car is.
It shouldn't be like that.
No, ever. But it happens, and we know it happens.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut on this one. Just because I'm wanting to run a little bit next
Correct.
year. But that shit happens a lot.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I'm not sitting here trying to out anybody. I'm not. He's had it. CJ's had it done to him. Dalen's had it done to him.
It's fucking hard
happens.
as a fucking human being to see somebody that you know you don't fucking like. They don't fucking like you. But I got to give this motherfucker a fair shake.
Correct.
Because as of right now, where I'm standing at, I can fuck him all the way up.
Yes, but it's still not fair.
No, it's not.
That's the.
It's not even ethical.
No.
But you're going to see it because everybody is human.
All your texts should be on the same page. Should all be on.
That's
the
why
same
our
page.
shit worked so fucking good. It really did. Everybody knew their fucking place. Everybody knew what their job was. And if there was a decision, Jerry made it. And everybody stood behind the shit. Because there was a few decisions that he made that I wasn't a fan of.
No.
But you can't step on that person's toes if that's who you've been having everybody call.
And that's
As a
the
head
problem with a lot of promoters. They will do that. They will override
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
their head tech.
I ain't fucking doing it.
As long as that head tech is fair and consistent down the line.
Now, am I saying that Jerry made some bad decisions? Yes, there was. I have never seen a perfect tech.
You're
No,
never going to be
ever.
perfect. We're all human. We're all
Yeah.
going to miss stuff.
Yes.
When you're teching 100+ cars,
Yeah.
stuff is going to get missed. Little stuff's going to
The
get
big
missed.
thing that we talked about was we'd have people show up whenever we were doing multiple shows. Well, it was like that at the last one. Sorry, we caught it this time. Fix it.
Yeah.
And then they're butt hurt as
Oh,
fuck
mad as a motherfucker.
because they got fucking, they caught it. Well, I guess we should have caught it last 2 fucking weeks ago.
Yeah.
But we didn't. Guess what?
We did
chop,
this
chop,
time.
bitch.
Yeah.
I do like the way Josh does it though. When you come in, he has a tech meeting before any cars get there. And he says, everybody who's called me, this is what they've told me, these are the questions they have. This is the stuff I'm going to allow to go through. Maybe a little different to what the rules is, but these are the cars that are going to come through with it. If you see some that are just like it, it's fine. It's not going to be, it's all went through him. It's
Yes.
not. It's going to be a consistent thing off of that.
Now, on the tech side, we all know you are 98% of every car that you've ever run is a new style Ford.
Exactly.
There was a couple that weren't. How much of a curveball is it? Fuck it, I'm going to use the little dickhead as a example. Adam Lemonadger pulled through Spring Explosion in 2023 in some weird fucking Merc.
Yep. He likes them.
He does. How hard is it to try to adjust your tech knowledge into cars that you really haven't been around?
If you know what you're looking at through cheating wise of welding and how to hide shit and doing anything like that, every car is pretty much the same. You can tell that somebody has hit something. You can tell that somebody has cheated something here. You can tell that that is not factory.
It's that factory tow package, bro.
That's a Canadian car.
It's from Indonesia.
Just like at Hot Springs, the first year I teched there, me Josh crawled under it, car, and I was like, "Oh my, look at this, Josh." He goes, "What in the crap?" It wasn't even hidden that good. And it was just a plate on the outside of the frame, but it was the whole boxes. And we crawl up and say, "Hey, did you put that on there?" "I don't know what you're talking about." Get back here and cut it, dude.
You know, I really think that's why some of these guys, and I'm not saying Adam does, because, I mean, I've seen Adam in a 62 Merc fuck shit up, you know. I think some of these guys want to bring these oddball, off-the-wall cars to throw a curveball. Well, maybe they're not used to, maybe they're not used to looking at a 75 Cordoba. This is all 74, 5, 6 GM and new style Fords. Let's throw a little curveball in here and see what the fuck I can get away with.
Well, that's me.
Fucking Mopars.
It is kind of you.
I did it twice at a couple local shows. You can't do that. Your fucking rules don't say that. It was about plate placement.
But that also, plate placement is way different.
And that's what it was. That was what it was
building
over.
rules, because building rules is
Right.
more nowadays is
If it doesn't say you can do it, don't do it.
don't do it, and if it's not in the rules, you better call the head tech before you try to do it, and if you didn't call, then you're definitely not going to be able to do it.
My deal was, and we got into a few arguments about it, on the Mopar deal, was they said that your plates can't touch sheet metal. That's a unibody car.
Exactly.
So
That's-
they just looked at that can't touch sheet metal no matter what car it was. Well, if one car can't do it, none of you can.
I don't agree with that rule at all. If you're given a
If you
repair
want to
plate-
put a fucking 6x6 plate on your door pillar, I don't give a fuck.
exactly, that's one of your, hey, that's one of your repair plates. If you want, you can put that repair plate wherever you want, as long as you're not making, like, I know on the O3s, they won't let you make it the overlay attached to the frame. I get it. Can't do it. But that's part of in the rules. But if you want to attach a repair plate to sheet metal, go for it.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference on the car that you took. It doesn't make a difference on the other fucking cars.
No, but where I put that plate, we watched it. It fucking did what it was supposed to do.
Yes, it did.
Run it at the first show, they made me cut it at the second one.
Yes.
And if it wouldn't have been for Siren, then I wouldn't have cut it. Or it would have taken more convincing.
You mean your Make-A-Wish? Make-A-Wish car.
You need to listen to last week's episode.
That's what you get for not listening. You'd have had ammo. You would have had ammo when you got down here.
Well, I wasn't gonna come today, but he said he was coming, so.
Oh, shit.
That was automatic. I coming out with my boy.
Okay. He talked about consistency.
Yep.
We got to go to Salt Lake City, Utah for Stern Dirt Show in September. They have figured out, Johnny and Gumby and Scooter and all them guys, they have figured out that they were teching too much. They were teching too many things on every car that didn't make a fucking bit of difference. So they actually went through and took a lot of the stuff that they would tech out. One, if it don't mean nothing, who gives a shit? And two, why have a guy cut a car apart when it doesn't mean anything?
Right.
So, do you see maybe other...
Where common sense comes in.
Yes, but do you see
Is
any other
this-
people doing
is-
that?
Yes. And I want to say it's a bad thing because it's not. Because common sense goes in a long ways. Because does this 1-inch weld on the door gonna win his show? No. Does 6 bolts in the fender instead of 5 gonna win the show?
No.
If that's the only thing he's got, may let it slide. But we come into a deal first time I teched down in Arkansas where a driver bet me $100 that I wouldn't find anything on his car. I said,
Oh, that was fucking stupid.
don't ever, and that's all it was he had an extra bolt in the fender. So I made him go take it out.
I bet you $100 you can't find it. That's...
And then we become pretty good buddies, after that. He's a good guy.
Well, we've seen this shit time and time again. But there's also where that little bit that you give them turns into a lot later. And I run into it with the fucking door bar situation. No more than 60 inches of material. I had a couple guys show up. They were 63. Couldn't have them trim it down because of where their tank protector was. Was that 3 inches going to make any difference? Not a fucking drop. But whenever the next guy showed up, that was another 3 inches over.
No.
Well, you let so-and-so in, he fucking 3 inches over. I'm like, yeah, but you fucking went 3 inches past that. Well, then the next show, you got guys fucking 8 inches over.
So door bars, you can either go off the front or the back. And we've had guys cut, say they got 3x3 on their angle bar going back to the gas tank protector. We've had them cut 1.5 inches out, notch it out, and the side bar out. So now they only got 1.5 inches holding instead of the 3 inches.
Right.
I mean, that's one thing
Oh,
that
yeah.
has got to be really, really close.
Because we got into that too. Derek was actually the one making the phone calls whenever I was trying to figure out placement on my dash bar for Whiskey City. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a material size preference. There was no rule on that.
There was no size and no distance.
Yeah.
So I called Cordell, and he was like, we're leaving it up to the driver's discretion. I was like, oh my God.
And at that moment, I was like,
Depends on what the rules are. Do you want your distributor cap coming back in and knocking
no,
it
I
off
wanted a
the next
fucking
one?
LS motor. I immediately wanted a fucking LS motor.
Depends on what you can have on the backside of an LS motor.
And that's true too. But if I could have done that and with 60 inches of bar and the fucking, you could have.
It's one of those kind of rules where if you're going to run an LS, you can't relocate your coils. So the
right.
dash bar will get into the coils.
Right.
But, if I was running, I'd relocate the coils inside the cab.
Right. I wanted to run a coil pack protector.
Like 1/2 inch steel T1 plate around it.
Yeah.
Tied into a dash bar.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the shit that you got to watch for.
Yeah.
And, just reading through a lot of the
But every
different
time I've
promoters'
cut
rules.
door weld, it's pissed me off. Every time.
And we've talked so much.
And you'll have some guys roll through with one sidebar being 1 inch over and the other sidebar being 4 inches over. I'm like, did you get your tape measure, Harbor Freight?
Along with your jack stands.
Yeah.
But we've said that for so long that if it's in that cage and it's not tied to frame,
I'm all about safety.
fuck yes.
I'm all about safety.
Yeah.
Because that's like that 6 inches of cage material. I'm like, man, fuck all of that.
You know, when rules say you're only allowed 4 down bars, I will still put a down bar right where my thigh is. And if I got a rider, I'll put one over there.
My main
It's-
goal, like
It may not
anytime,
be the frame.
Well, but it's still not making the
Especially-
fucking car harder.
see,
But it's protecting you.
That's what I've got into it over down bars with promoters over because I run unibody cars. I want a fucking down tube up by where my fucking foot's at.
We'll quit running unibody cars.
No, no.
You don't have to worry about that with a Ford.
I do agree on the down bar not being past the inside of the door seam.
And I'm good with that. I just want it up there by where my foot's at.
Because
I've-
that gets crazy with guys going up towards the boxes and
Right.
stuff like that.
I mean, we have personally saw down tubes on top of a box.
Well,
Completely on top of the boxes.
those aren't down tubes no more. Those are kickers.
that is a kicker at that point.
But they know that's my down tube. You know, that's where they're trying to play with that rule, which
Down tubes are supposed to be straight up and down, not
Should.
angled.
should.
Because that's where I got into that big deal because they didn't say where the fucking halo had to be. I want my halo up front.
Run it down. It says your halo can connect to the frame. They didn't say right behind the center
A lot of
bars.
rules do now.
Yes, because of that. Because of it. But we just want to, we want to go and watch these good ass shows. We don't want to watch all the drama bullshit through the text side of it.
No, I mean, I don't mind watching some of that.
But it's getting the guy that don't have the amount of money into the sport without getting junked off one hit.
Yes.
Some of that comes with learning, though.
Personal experience.
I mean, that's you do. And you always want to try, if you're in that tech line and you see this kid, I mean, he's got a shit box. We understand that. And he don't really know what he's doing. And he's trying to do some stuff.
I will honestly, as a tech guy, and I see somebody that comes through like that, be like, hey, you need to do this, do that, and do this. And it's not making this car harder. It's mostly because a lot of those guys come in with unsafe cars.
Jacob Pease
Yes.
was the worst one I'd ever seen.
Coming in with a, fence post as a,
Dash bar?
dash bar or
Yeah.
something like that. Get that out of there. Go do something. I've seen guys come through with halo bars as the ramps that they come in with their car that they pulled in.
I don't know how many trailer ramp sidebars I've seen. In a gut and go, I can't count the amount of people that I have watched unload their fucking van and shove the fucking ramp down the door.
Yep. 900
like-
piss out of it and roll on. And then after their shit's junked, then they gotta get the ramp out from inside the car to load their piece of shit again. I don't.
Onto a lawnmower trailer.
Yes.
Nice 6x12. It fit. Well, at least the fucking rear tires are on the backside of the trailer. But I'm just,
But they're into it, and that's all about it.
correct.
They're in it. They're trying.
We have spoke with Will Steinbeck.
But I don't agree because that's the first person that's going to come at you griping about rules.
Yes.
Hey, guess what? There's a set of rules out there. You could have did more,
Yes.
but you didn't.
I think
Don't come to me because that car was harder. That was to the rules.
that's what we got into a bunch of my stock class. I had these guys that were showing up with no down tubes. They weren't using all their plates. And they were like, well, they're going out there fucking us up every time. I was like, yes, they are. But some of that's on you.
How many plates have you put on it? Well, I've got 2. Well, you can run 6, motherfucker.
Yes.
That's on
So
you.
you think that would have made that much of it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, 100 fucking percent.
You know, like PJ's even talked about, you know, when you're talking these beginners classes such as big car hobo stuff or whatever, you know, the builders classes are starting farther up. And now we're seeing where a lot of these places are killing their street stocks or their light welds. So these guys are coming down. So imagine the hurt feelings when you pull into Pleasant Hill next fall and PJ and Dalen and Cody and Alan and Gary Robinson and Pork Chop and Avery, they're all running hobo big cars. Ruh-roh. Well, you took their class. They want to run. And they're damn sure going to want to run for $4,000 or $5,000, whatever it's going to pay for this fall. So these guys are going to build down, use their knowledge to come down and hurt fucking feelings, because there's going to be hurt feelings. I promise it. You know, that's just, you know, take you and Adam and PJ and Avery and Denton. We're going to go run a hobo big car class at Madison. Do you know how many pissed off fucking people we're going to be pulling up when they see you guys driving a hobo?
I'll trailer in my car.
What?
I'll put mine back on the trailer.
You know how long I've tried to get him to build a stock car?
That's fine.
A long time.
Well, that's because when mods were mods, I built one car for Blizzard Bash, and
Bring it home, run it all year.
95% of the time I could fix it after it was done there. I run it all year long. Most of the time sold the car before the next Blizzard Bash year and built another new fresh car.
Or run Blizzard Bash and Sturgis,
So
Kentucky.
a lot of people are like, oh, that's money. But guess what? I built one car, run it all year, and built one more fresh car to run the next, that winter. I'm not building a fresh car for every show,
Correct.
especially when cars are
Well, I'm not fucking doing that anymore.
800, that one year I won all that money. I ran almost every weekend. They were all in pre-run cars, and I brought home a lot of money that year.
Paid for the motor.
That was when most
That paid for everything but the 14 transmissions.
90% of it was with Otis, though.
Yeah.
A house-built engine that was not much.
But that bitch never missed a beat.
No, when the water pump fell off of it, the very first run,
It never quit.
No.
It never did. And that's what a lot of people...
the engine's still around.
Shane still got it?
Otis? No, I built it.
I know, but does Shane Justice still have it?
No, I got it back.
You did.
I got it back, and me and Denton freshened it up and never run it. And then I let Tommy Stark borrow it when he was on our team for the last time I ran at Blizzard Bash. And he ran it at Blizzard Bash, so it's still at Tommy's. So it's been, how many years ago? Going on 3 years now?
Yep.
I need to go get it back. But it's been down there. It's only got that one run on fresh rebuild.
Oh my! So yeah, that needs to come back. That needs to be Ian's motor.
He wants something good. He wants something more peppier.
That's when you say, "Son, you know how much money this little fucker's won me? You want to do the same thing?" And it'd still be. I mean,
And people don't believe what's even in that thing.
I know.
It's a Vortec block. It's got a cast steel crank, stock crank in it, 1182 crank in it. It's got 6-inch rod. It's got mouth, flat top pistons, and double hump heads with a Brodix intake.
See, that right
See,
there
that's
is
what you need.
exactly what I'm wanting to do. That is a fucking sewing machine motor is what that is.
And it's got it. And like I said before, I'm not a hydraulic person, and it's got a hydraulic roller motor or hydraulic roller cam in it.
I tell you, that would be perfect for me.
It was enough. It's enough motor to flip people on their roof.
And it was always run off a 2-barrel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you need.
perfect.
But it was a Willys 2-barrel.
See? But no, now you getting back into it with Ian, is that changing your normal schedule? because I know you've been partaking in helping a few other guys build cars too. But with your tech schedule and work schedule, we know your work schedule is
We'll just work around
fucked up.
We'll just work around it.
You do have one of the dumbest fucking work schedules I've ever seen.
We'll work around it. See what he needs to. I'd like it for it to be a local show, if I could get it to be a local around here, and I would like to be able to run the same show with him, but him being the youth and me being different class. Because I'm not going to just stick him out in there with me at all.
He could be that kill car though.
Yeah, but still, it's who's going to kill him.
Correct.
On the backside.
Oh yeah.
At 12 years old, just never even drove a derby car. Don't want to do it.
Yeah, he needs to be.
That's what happens to a lot of young kids is they just say, I'm building a car, and they jump into the veterans class. Well, then now the veterans junk him off one hit or two hits, and then the kid's like, screw this, I'm done, I'll quit. Mm-hmm. And never derby again.
Yep. Or they absolutely love it.
Yeah.
That's it's nothing mixed in between.
Yeah.
Either hell no or hell yeah.
Yeah.
Now I just needed.
I
got to get better.
Now I need to learn.
Yes. Because we talked about social media stuff a couple weeks ago. You know, what was done in a shop 5 years ago, nobody knew that. Now you've got guys that are showing 95% of the builds through social media.
On TikTok.
Yeah.
Or YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever think that would ever fucking change? Ever come about?
It would. It was going to progress with technology. It has to. But then again, that's why when you come through the tech line, it's either what it is or it's not. There's no beating the rules anymore.
Mm-hmm. Not when
With technology the way it is.
1.4 million people have seen your car.
Exactly.
You know, saw it with the motor out of it, saw it with the motor in it.
Exactly.
Which, all bullshit aside, all that's doing leveling the playing field.
It is.
Because that means every other fucking average Joe could do the exact same thing.
It is.
But you can cut and edit the fuck out of the video, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I've always said that there's that 5% hanging out that they're not showing you.
I mean, how many guys were in the shop whenever I was running? Lots. Anybody can come by, stop by at my shop, look at my car. There's nothing there. There never was cheated up.
Yep. There was just certain things done certain ways
To the rules.
to the rules that helped that the other people didn't want to.
They didn't want to take the time
Correct.
to do that. That's when we went back to where the guy that always gripes about, well, he junked me, his car must be cheated. No, it's not cheated. He just did it to the rules, and you didn't.
Even attempt it.
You know, you did it at 50% to the rules, and you could have did it more.
Yes, done it.
You could have added a lot more to your car, and you didn't do it.
Yes. Usually we ask everybody, you know, do you got a bucket list show and all that stuff? I mean, but you've been to Utah, you've been to Kansas, you've been Iowa.
I've never ran Utah.
You've never ran Utah. Holy shit,
I
come
went out
on with
there.
it.
I went out there, me and Ian went with Sam Williams and Chris when Sam ran out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I helped him as his pit crew guy.
Yeah.
But it was a good time. I liked it, and
Was that a Stern Dirt show or was that a...
it was a Stern Dirt show.
It was?
I'm pretty sure it was.
So yeah, I'm thinking you just need to just say fuck it, build a car, and just take it out there. Because I do know there's a couple guys that are gonna, I think, run out there from here in 2024. Yeah, build one, bitch.
I'll get it out there.
That's the part of starting out small again. Because the money's not there like it used to be.
Correct. And that's another thing that
Pops
is.
being gone, that was big. You know, hey, I need $5,000 so I can build a rear end. Okay, here you go. It's
Yep.
not there no more. you know?
Correct. And that's one thing that we have noticed that is the aftermarket part availability is so out there, so much more, but it's fucking
high.
expensive.
I was looking at just, you know, yeah, I could build a rear end myself. Takes a lot of time to do, a lot of welding and all that. I could be focusing on something else. I could buy that part, help out the vendor as well. Can I shove out $3,750? It's hard to do. Real hard to do. Or that's just off, a buddy of mine's rear end. That, A to Z, Andrew's a good buddy of mine. I've looked at the Impact ones, Impact Derby rear ends. They're like $7,500 for a 14 bolt rear end. I'm like, how can anybody afford something like
Correct.
that?
I never thought it would get so crazy. In 15 and 16, postal back then was $5.
I don't even know for that much. I think I gave $4,200 for my first postal,
And now they're,
and it was
Jesus
it was,
Christ.
it was a 15 bolt.
And now you're getting them for $8,000. Motors, cradles. You can piece it together. That's what a lot of people don't realize is that, when you would come back from Blizzard Bash or whatever, or from Kentucky, and you put it for sale for $25,000, somebody's like, that's too high. His first words,
Piece it together.
do it. Piece this son of a bitch together and see what you got in it. Where you don't have that. You don't have that fucking money.
No.
You can't just say, I'm just going to go spend 20 grand on this. Now, 20 grand will get you a motor, a transmission, and a rear end. That's
If
it.
you're lucky, you want to build that 410 brand new? that I
Fuck
got?
you.
That's 30 grand.
Yeah.
Start buying bolt ends. That's it. That's what I tell everybody. Whenever they get on there and they're like, fucking used pedal setup was $200. I'm like, what's going to go wrong with it?
Nothing. What's a new one? $350.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to go wrong with it. Good quality.
Buy the fucking used one.
Shifters.
You know?
Buy a good shifter.
Yes.
Don't try.
Yes.
If you can't build a good shifter and you don't have the money to do it, go the old tried and true with a fucking ready rod down to the floor.
Pimp stick.
100%.
Because he'll tell you, if you don't have that bitch adjusted right,
Oh,
It'll
yeah.
burn-
She'll burn a fucking tranny out
That's
right
the
now.
fastest way to burn a tranny up.
She
Not
gone.
having it adjusted right.
and then when they're fully encased in protectors and shit, that really makes it suck.
Oh, I know all about that before Whiskey City. Wow. We had that motherfucker Micah's out 3 times before we left for the show. I left his shop at 4 o'clock in the motherfucking morning.
Knowledge knows a long way with that one.
No shit. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Do what?
I said, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I just know that I kept putting bolts in and taking bolts back out. And shit wasn't working.
They're just bolts.
I was like, why is this fucking flex plate sideways in there? I'm like, that ain't right.
Sideways flex plate.
We took the Eldorado big block front wheel drive.
Yeah, how? We talked about that. How in the fuck did he do it?
I don't know.
Who?
Randy Maslowski. How the fuck does Randy Maslowski run a front wheel drive Eldorado with a 350 small block in it and it's still front wheel drive?
Because that's what their car was originally. They still got to change their transmission.
I thought that was-
Transmission, still BOP transmission.
I thought that was a front wheel drive car.
They are. They're big block. They turn sideways.
So they didn't have to change as much as we thought he did.
No, I looked at the car. I was there.
Looks just like a compact sitting in there.
Yeah, 100 fucking
Like
percent.
this, like this.
I looked at it. And I was like,
And the Eldorado front frame are pretty straight.
He fucked people up with it. I'm not going to say Randy don't, but I mean, that's the thing. Randy's been in this game for a long time. He's a Minnesota guy, and we've talked about those Minnesota guys. They just like running into shit. And it don't matter if it's big car, small car, truck, van, they don't give 2 fucks.
after that, I honestly thought we would see more compact guys transition into big cars with that Eldorado.
Not really, because then you're getting into where the guys that have the big cars were rear wheel drive had a different advantage.
Well, I understand that, but I just thought, you know, they would see that and they're like, oh, fuck, somebody did that. That's front wheel drive. I know how to build front wheel drive shit.
Mm-hmm.
Especially seeing as good as he did.
Yeah. Yeah, because he tore shit up. I'm not going to say he didn't. He
The
did
biggest
tear shit up.
downfall I seen right out the fucking gate was ride height.
Low.
Yes.
That's your normal Cadillac.
Well, yeah, and then you're running a front wheel drive when, I mean, you're looking at angles and shit then.
Your half shafts coming out
Yeah.
and stuff.
Fuck yeah.
That's what I would be worried about, the half shafts. I mean, we see compacts, you know, that weigh a half as much as that Eldorado does, and we'll see them chucking.
and put out
motherfuckers.
negative horsepower.
He's gotten payback from last week. That's what's going to have to happen. Because he sat through an entire episode about some little cars. So, yeah, he's going to be just nut thumping compacts for like the next month.
I'm not a compact guy. I will not tech a compact car. I'll tech the easy stuff. Cage, safety, I'm good for it. Fans, same thing. Other than that, I ain't doing it. You gotta have somebody there for it. to do
Correct.
that.
I'm telling you, after all these big shows, they ought to run them on Monday.
Before the show starts.
Or after. Whatever.
We're all going home on Sunday. Fucking run on Monday.
Yeah. Parking lot parking.
Yeah, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Whatever.
Street derby.
Yeah, whatever they want to do with them. I don't care. Just rather have to listen to the fucking thing.
So, what's your expectations for 2024?
As in,
All of it. Running, building more motors, teching.
we're swamped right now on the motor building side, and it's not derby. We got a bunch of circle track stuff in there too.
Gross.
Motors are motors.
I get it.
Right now we got a 51 pickup sitting in the shop.
Why?
Put a tranny in it. Put a tranny in it, then put a distributor in it. Then I got to put a shifter in it because he wanted to do big burnouts with it. So
Oh, I
We
know
put-
what you're talking about.
So I gotta get a shifter for it. It's got trans brake on it. And I don't want the trans brake to be on his shifter knob, so I don't want him to accidentally hit it cruising down the road.
That's all bad.
The old boy's a good guy. He's got a fake leg, so he couldn't do crazy with pedals and stuff. So, John,
Oh, yeah.
one-legged John.
Yeah.
That truck's pretty peppy.
Peppy.
This got a big block,
I like
402 in it.
I like Pep.
It ain't nothing. I tried
It
to
will be
talk-
for him, though.
I tried to talk him in. I was like, you can turn this thing 4,500 in your big block, or we could put a nasty small block in it and you can turn $9,000. What do you want? You just doing burnouts and cruising with it.
So he went with the big block route.
Well, it was already in the truck.
Yes, guys. So he just told you he is pretty swamped right now, but you can catch him on Facebook. You got a Barnes Engine Facebook page? No, just off your own personal stuff.
He don't need to promote what the fuck he's doing. he's got enough shit going on.
Here's my thing with promoting like Fushi does and Clear does is that's what they do all the time. I still have a normal job. I still have all my kids' activities. I still want to do my own stuff. So I will only do very few. And like I've said before, it takes a lot of maintenance on a big motor. And if you can't do that, I really don't want to build nobody nothing like that again.
Correct.
I don't want to have a good name and create a bad name because somebody won't do their own maintenance.
So if you're on the lazy side and don't want to do the meticulous shit that needs to be done, don't even get a hold of him. But if you're willing to do that, willing to throw some coin out and like to party, man can make that shit happen for you.
I have started now. I had a bad part last year or the year before with a guy. I made it right. And don't really want to go through all that stuff again. Sell one motor, build two. So Now it's going to be, once I put it on the run stand, you see it on the run stand, it goes in the back of your tailgate, it's your baby.
Taillight warranty.
Taillight warranty. As soon as you can't see the tail
Taillight
lights, it's
warranty.
voided.
Don't even have to be that. As soon as my shop door's closed.
We've talked about that parts failure. Parts failure can make or break somebody.
I think it was a parts failure, but getting into it deeper, it was something else. I'm not going to get into it. It was somebody who did some heads for this motor that made it happen, but I'm not going to
Correct.
I'm not going to put another person down. I'm not going to do any of that. I expect them to not do anything to that to me. So I'm not going to do that to nobody else.
Honesty goes a long ways. That it does. That it does. So, be looking, boys and girls, for 2024. Now you don't know where he's going to show up to. Don't know. Find a youth show. As long as they're running hot stock, he might show up, ruin somebody's day. And we might get to see Ian ruin somebody's day.
If I get the shit worked out, I'll have one pretty close to his house.
That is still in the making. Boys and
Might end
girls.
up at a bigger show over that one.
Listen, Macon Derby is where CJ became Bub's idol.
Oh, was that the year with Otis Motor and
Flip Corey.
I was standing right there. I was like, oh, he's going to get him. He backed up, hit him again. I was like, it's going to go over. About that time, I was like, huh, he got him.
It went.
I agree on that with the driver, like that hit. It was a hit roll. It wasn't, I don't agree as a driver. You hit, you steep shove, 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 and then the guy rolls over. I don't agree with that.
No.
I don't agree with it at all. You make that one initial hit, and if that guy don't flip or do anything dumb, you back off, you make it another hit.
Yes.
I don't agree with all that stuff because one, that's driver safety there. That guy could get hurt that you hit in the other car, and just
Yeah, because if you got somebody coming blindly across the other side of the fucking track and you've got him laid up on his side or close
if somebody's like that too.
and hits that fucking roof, you're fucked.
I've been there.
Spring X.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you get a spring explosion where
Blizzard
That was
Bash.
Blizzard Bash.
Blizzard Bash when I was up on the dirt berm and somebody backed into my driver's roof and caved the whole driver roof in.
Blizzard Bash fun?
I want to roll on your car. On the bumper.
What?
Daddy's back.
What's the famous one now? Daddy's home and he's been drinking. So
Did you do that too?
we will be at Spring Explosion that weekend. Hang out with you guys. We've got a lot of buddies that are going to be over there running. A lot of your buddies that you're going to have to tech.
I should have got in on that fucking stock class
That's
over there.
not a big deal. You know, like I said before, it doesn't matter if it's my best friend that builds in my shop that I helped build the car. Mm-hmm. He's still getting tech the same way.
He sucks anyway.
That's fucked up, man.
I've been snapping him.
Maybe he should go to a different shop and build. That way he can learn more.
Look at his girlfriend's Facebook.
No, we're not getting personal or nothing. So, but yeah, we will be in Champaign-Urbana, getting down on that. You just need to get some scheduling conflicts and shit. And like I said,
We need some shows to get out and some rules to get out so I can see where I can come around locally. That was my biggest thing when I was running mod cars. Never got to run a whole lot of local. I'd like to do it once, twice.
Correct.
You know?
and we tried. You know, we tried to find something where it wasn't a mod car, but when you sit
Not
there
being
and
in the mod cars anymore, though.
Correct.
One, I don't want to spend the money to only run one show a year. Mm-hmm. And then try to find somewhere to go run it and drive 7-8 hours away. Now time is, I need to get close.
Yep.
Time is money.
Well, it wasn't no thing, you know. You can take something and throw 3 months of welding at it and go take it and run a 5-foot class in Kentucky.
took an old Blizzard Bash car
Yeah.
once in a 5-foot class that wasn't a 5-foot car.
I remember that.
Ended
Kind of
up-
was. It looked more like a car than the rest of them.
Ended up third place.
But
Broke a rear end.
I remember that.
we were standing there, and some old boys from Kentucky were standing there next to me, and he said, "Who in the fuck is that?" I said, "CJ's running across right there." He said, "Where did that motherfucking motor come from?" I said, "See, that's all you guys pay attention to." He said, "But it sounds so good." Well, it does.
I just remember welding on Tommy's car for a fucking week.
Oh, yeah.
A solid
There was
motherfucking
me,
week.
Tommy, and Riggs in that class.
Yeah, and then Chris Quick came with Riggs.
Because we were supposed to go to Illinois, and then they canceled that show.
That was the one
That
in
was, the year,
Flora.
that was the year Tommy was backing out of the shop and his fucking spindle fell off.
I don't remember
Not
how
his
much,
fault either.
No.
Spindle builder.
I don't remember how much metal we put in his car, but I was sick of trying to find places to put kickers. He was like, "Where are we gonna put that?" I was like, "I don't know. I'm out." We had shit welded off the fucking rear end to the humps.
You know, in that 5-foot class, that thing still had stock spindles on it. Mm-hmm. They were beefed up. I had metal welded everywhere on
Right.
the stock spindle, but it was still a stock spindle.
I left the shop, and they were supposed to be at my house at noon. Cordell came the night before. So I go home, get a shower, get ready. These fuckers are showed up at my house at 7. I thought. And then it was 9. Because Cordell got there and decided he needed to do some more welding on it too. So we showed up at Sturgis at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Go to our cabin, go crash out.
Is that the year I woke up on the top bunk bed on the actual
Yes.
bars, not even on the mattress?
I'll let you hurt.
That was the night with Nathan Brown and the moonshine.
Oh yeah, the honey turkey. No, it's honey turkey.
That's what it was.
Oh.
Where's CJ? I don't know, and I can hear them all. Nathan was like, "He's over here." I said, "Am I gonna have to carry him?" "No, he's fine."
Then slept underneath the pickup for half a day. It was nice and cool, and the breeze was blowing through.
I
That was
just
the team show, though.
That was the team
That
show.
wasn't the 5-foot class.
Where's CJ? Under the truck. Everybody was proud that weekend.
Hey, I got a second place.
But the 5-foot class, that was fun. And when we talk about a 5-foot class, if anybody has never watched that shit, you can go to YouTube and watch it because it is seriously dumpsters hitting each other. 1/2-inch plated cars all the way around, roof, sides, doors, trunks, you name it. It's
we were
on.
welding fucking kickers in, and then welding 1/2-inch steel to the kickers to close the center up.
Those cars that we brought, B. Tommy and Riggs, were Blizzard Bash cars. The bodies looked like a stock car with door skins and kickers everywhere underneath.
Yeah.
That was it.
Kickers, head straps,
But
fucking.
the reason we lasted so long is because we was a lot lighter. Our cars was just as hard, but we was a lot lighter than those sheeted up bodied cars.
Yeah.
That they were burning up transmissions left and right. And,
Yep.
and we was just getting around a lot better.
I remember looking at Tommy, and I was like, "I guess we're gonna weld to this 8-lug rear end, right? Like, we're just gonna start welding." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah." He's like, "I can just start cutting kickers, and I'll start welding."
That could have been a completely dominated show because it was Tommy Stark and CJ and Zach Riggs and Chris Quick and Kyle Pudwitter and the.
I don't think Pud come.
Yes, he did.
Did he come?
He was in the Mike Brown Imp Killer Caddy.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was in that. He was
Yes.
he was in the 2-door. He was in the 2-door caddy.
Yep, the Imp
That's
Killer.
right.
They call it.
I do remember that.
Yeah, so that could have been 5 on. That was pretty much 5 on the other.
Whatever. was out
However many
there.
was there, and
That's
there
when he
was
was running against
Jones.
Roger Hickman, Shane Jones. Shane
Yep.
Jones had that turtle.
Yep.
They called it the turtle.
Yeah,
That thing was nasty.
because we started welding on Tommy's car to make
Those
it a
two.
5-foot car for Flora.
Because those two guys right there, Shane Jones and Roger Hickman, build some nasty cars. And they don't have to be 5-foot cars. They just build nasty cars.
Yep.
You can wash them out there at that What's that show out at Smash It puts on in Ohio?
King of Ohio? No, not
no.
Bash for Cash.
Bash for Cash. Yeah, they run out there all the time. Man, them guys.
We haven't got so far out east yet, but that's going to happen. We just got to figure out when. So, like I said, 2024, boys, it's all about big shows,
It's coming.
and they're just more's getting launched every day. One thing that was actually came up on social media this week, Ultimate Derby took over the Ottawa Team Show.
Seen that.
Now it is going to be another qualifier for the Wheelman Nationals at South Dakota. Plus, I think it's a 2-man mod class for like 10 grand to win. I mean, there's
Is it a mod or is it like
says
street
mod.
stock?
No, he's got street stock individuals, and then he's got the mod 2-man team
That's
show.
another thing. If you don't have a mod car, do you really want to enter into a mod 2-man team?
Correct, to run one show
Yeah.
because you can't carry him over to Gold Rush
I
as a
get
pre-run.
why he's doing it. So guys who have Gold Rush cars, guys who have Blizzard Bash cars that are around that area, that's where they can finish them off at. Or they're never going to finish them off, but
No.
that's where they can run them at.
We've always said it. If you got a mod car, they're gonna be sitting in the weeds in Iowa somewhere because we know that was so predominant
Yeah.
for several years that somebody might not have run a mod car for 4 or 5 years, but they've got one sitting back in the fucking weeds.
But you think about it from like my aspect here. Build a fresh car for just that show. Drive 6.5 hours away to run one show.
One show.
Well, there is a fucking badass mod car sitting right down the fucking road that has nowhere to go.
Nowhere.
I mean, that motherfucker's fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
The dense perimeter. from-
he's going to run it.
Where?
Where?
Only place I know he's possibly spoke about.
Cut some shit off and run around here.
Well, there's that.
That's all you're going to have to do.
I think he's got to cut a lot of shit off.
I doubt it. There's a place.
There's a place for
Not
it.
really.
So, dude, thank you for finally getting a schedule figured out where you can get down here and talk. Like I said, if you're willing to do the maintenance and you want a big party time motor, get a hold of him. He'll try to get you fit in. Big shows, big shows, big shows, boys and girls. That's all it is. From here on out. Got any last words, Peckerhead? Make junk, boys. This episode is brought to you by Broadhead Decals. From door wraps and roof signs, window stickers and banners, let Broadhead Decals take care of all your vinyl needs with only quality products used.
Justin's graphic design abilities will get you everything you could ever want. With super fast shipping, their turnaround time is second to none. So let Broadhead Decals take you to the next level.